see what we got for Penny's past life. We need to pull some cards stuff. Okay, this is where we start. These ones. All right. All right. An aspect is there. Now let's see where we're at. Ooh, okay, okay. Okay. All right. We're getting this song, Might As Well Be Walking on the Sun, and it's just that lyric that keeps coming through really, really strong. We have here an aspect of what was going on is infertility, children, and want of a child to an obsessive degree. Hugely, hugely want the child to an obsessive degree. So if this is triggering for people, I will do my best to be gentle around the subject because this is a difficult subject for women anytime. But in this particular past lifetime, there was this really difficulty to try and conceive. It did not go easy for you. You might as well be walking on the sun. It seemed so impossible. You were obsessed about having the baby, having the child. Then you get the dead end, 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 the dead end. And finally the butterfly here. This doesn't feel like the child comes. It feels like the lesson comes. Now right here, it feels like a secret affair. This is what it's saying, a secret affair. And when this happened, it's like, I think you felt like you could conceive. I think you conceived and had a miscarriage and you knew you could conceive, but the child didn't come into fruition. It feels like the partner that was your spouse at the time, your partner, he had the issue. Now that might be a little more graphic than what people want, but this is how we are. This is what's coming through. It feels like he had the issue. It was not the issue on your end. So you chose to have this affair. However, the guilt that you had regarding this affair inhibited the egg drop, for lack of better terms. You thought this would help you. You thought, okay, you would have this child. You would have this child. It's like you had somebody that could see that longing for you. Oh. This is a little too close to home. It's why the affair was quiet and you just didn't leave and go off somewhere else. This is a little tawdry. I'm so sorry, but it is a little tawdry. This feels like an affair with somebody close to him. Now, I don't know if this is a brother or a best friend, but it's that close to home. Because of the want of having a child, And you weren't really in love with the brother or the friend or whoever this close other is. You weren't in love with that close other. But it was close to home. It needed to be kept on the hush. It needed to be kept on the quiet. It was a secret. It was kept in the dark. He was trying to help you get the baby, and it was like a dumb idea on a particular night. But what happened with this? Let's see. The want for expansion, you're putting the order there, the want for expansion, the want for the expansion. It shifted a little bit. There was a 2-month period of time, again, where there was heat with you and this other that wasn't your partner. And you were the predatory woman, for sure. You were like ready. You wanted this all in your situation, doing everything you could to conjure, to have all the secret ingredients come up. You didn't get pregnant from this particular affair at all. What you got was a little bit more invested in this as time went on, and then it had to end. You had to move on. You could see the confusion of the situation, how it was just it would lead to a hot mess. What you were conjuring was a whole can of worms. It was like you knew that this was not in alignment with who you were, who you wanted to be, who you are in that life. You knew you still wanted this obsessive desire for having a child. It was strong, But this ended. And you knew this hot mess ended. You knew the smoke and mirrors ended. Interesting, interesting. You knew that ended. Let's see. What happened next? I want to know what happens when after the dead end, but before the mystic. I think we're missing something here. Is this an aspect? It's an aspect. We need the aspect. Sorry. We need the aspect. What's the aspect after the dead end, before the mystic? Well, okay. Oh. It's here. Wow, you have just like the whole... You have the defender, you have somebody murdered, and you have a judge coming in on this. Holy crap. The aspect is you guys thought you got away with it. You thought that the partner didn't know. The partner found out. You tried to end it before the partner found out. The partner found out. Things went batshit off the rails. Sideways off the rails. You didn't murder your partner, but I think your partner murdered his friend or brother, whoever this one. This friend feels like a brother to him. It was that close. I think it was a friend. I don't think it was his brother. Shit. He was really, really, truly hurt and truly pissed by this. He hunted for this to happen. He sought out this other that you had gone to. The hunter shows up. The judge. I think you went in and owned it and allowed the eyes to be upon you as the adulterer, so to speak. I think that you allowed your whole story to be still spilled and laid before the law, laid before the judge, hoping for mercy for your partner. I don't think it played out that way. No, 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 no. No. No, it didn't play out that way well, but how it went down, there was an unfortunate accident where somebody fell is how the murder went down. This entanglement where there was work on something that was marked as you were thought to be his by your partner. This was painful, painful, painful. Painful, painful, painful. You thought one was as good as the other as long as you could have that baby, and it did not work out. So you guys will have chances to reconcile and do this contract later, but in this particular lifetime, the secret lover is helped to something at a lower elevation, like not a short pier, but more cliff. There is harsh judgment coming down, big, big, big on this. It slows progress in what had happened. One was not as good as the other. The momentum to move forward is quick. It was a quick thing, quick trial, quick case, quick judgment made by whoever it was that was the elder in this. Now, when we see this, we think laws, we think courts, we think current times. It could be a situation where it was less of a legal court like we would see today and more of like a one person making the decision, more like an elder of a kangaroo court, or an elder says, yep, guilty, boom, sorry, eye for an eye, you're done. Hangman, quick. Sorrow and loss over what had happened. Wow, oh honey, this is like one of the hardest. The story goes this, and it goes such that your partner murdered his friend because of the affair that you had, that the karma was fast, it was swift. He was hung, and you were there, and you stood there. You watched as this happened. You showed up for him. Your love was really for him, but this obsession of yours cost you the whole match, cost you everything. The ego costed you everything to try and get everyone to go your way, costed you everything. Yeah, I think in very, very literal representations, the story unfolds. What happens next? Because we're still a gap before the mystic. We're still... Gee.
You put, well, holy hell.
This one almost hurts to read. I'm so sorry. Okay, all right. What else? And it's like you really read letter, really, really publicly wore the red letter and the brand of not just adulteress, but also the cause of the whole kerfuffle. What's the other aspect? The other aspect. It's not the aspect. It's what's the other... I'm sorry. What's the other story? What's the other story? Where's the story going? Where's the story going? I didn't expect it to go there. Something about this hobbyist, that this model, this paints, it looks like you go for a new obsession and you start going into a new obsession. You're held as an example in a bad way, so you take up a new obsession because you can't get out of the brand, the almost the branding. You can't get out of that in this particular lifetime. Again, look, there's another look. Somebody that comes through as a benefactor. This is someone related to the friend. Knew the friend. They don't blame you. It's a wonder they don't. It's a fucking miracle they don't. They don't blame you. That's very interesting. That's the one thing I think that saves your ass. What do you go into? Is this... Let me look just... Okay, all right. What is it? It says, Father. This is a gentleman older than the secret lover you took. He's still around. He forgives you. He doesn't blame you. He understands the importance of having a child and importance of having legacy. How utterly strange. He takes you as if you were his child, even though your husband murdered his son. He takes you as if you were his child, teaches you about the things that are his. You fill that gap for him as child. Something about the artist, something about the seeing the beauty. This guy has seen a lot in his days. This guy probably didn't have a son until he was much older. He understood the ache of the wanting for child and it not happening quickly. I did not see that coming. Might as well be walking as the sun. Not just on the sun, but might as well be walking as the sun. You step into that role. Not that you are made to be different than yourself, but he's a parent without a child, and you're a child with no one, which really isn't a child, but you're a young one. You're like in your 20s-ish. You're still young without a lot of support around you at all. You're Scarlet Lady, really.
But I'm an artist.
There's always a crossover, I tell you, there always is. King of Pentacles, loyal support for the hangmans. This is loyal support for the one who watched the hangman. Look. We've got the King of Coins here. Now he's looking a little dastardly. But here we've got you watching your husband in the hanging. And he sees, he was there too. He was there too. He saw this go down. And there's loyal support for you. The gravitas of this, knowing what your choices impacted, knowing the impact, the fallout, and the consequences that came because of your choice, and then the domino effect. It was so awful. He gave you the fresh start, reason to celebrate life again, reason to celebrate and remember those boys. He saw those boys as they were younger. Both of them. So for him, he sort of lost more than one. Family survives and gets through it and finds a way to wrap itself around something new, to have a new start, a new passionate start. Family finds its way around. And the story that lives on, the story that is told, and the story that continues to be told, is you guys grieve what happened, and you're sad about the cause and the causation and the effect and how passionate it was. However, that doesn't mean you never speak their names again or you never talk about them. No. They're still, each of the men, celebrated by this really brilliant, wise, I would say wise old man. He's the mystic. He allows you to go from caterpillar isolated in the cocoon to finally opening up again, to finally understanding. He's the mystic. That's why it took me so long to get there, because he is that. Anything else? Do you choose love again? Do you obsess about a child or anything like that going forward? No. No. Your sense of belonging that you wanted so bad, the yearning for the child was a sense of belonging. This sense of unconditional love that you were aching for is part of the reason you wanted the child so badly. You received that from this one. That is a beautiful and tragic story, but that is it. And your sense of belonging was there. The skill, the acquisition of the skill, the understanding again, coming through and echoed again right there. Anything else going forward? You became family to each other. That's the damn truth, and that's where it sits. That's the sticking point. That's where it stops. That's where it's at. Wow. That's the truth of it. Yeah, that's where it stops. And when I do these past lives and it gets, that's where it stops. That's where it stops. That is sad and beautiful and holy moly and oh my gosh. And the unconditional love you learned from him brought you spiritual wisdom, spiritual truth, and it saved. It saved you from the guilt of what you had triggered. That's what I got. Wow. Wow. Those always surprise me, guys. That one kind of just takes my breath away. It's not as big and messy of all the cards, but it's a big mess. A beautiful mess that we have there. Wow. The level of forgiveness, breathtaking. The level of humility after it all went down to plead before whoever was this higher judge, this person making the decision. The swiftness of the justice in this case. Wow. Wow. Yeah, that's complete. Holy shit.